welcome to the Name One Player podcast. My name is Nicole, I am your host, and before we hop into anything, I just want to say a huge thank you to every single person who is listening today. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. It means the absolute world to me that you've listened to whatever episode that you've listened to in the past. Maybe it was one episode, maybe it was all 31 episodes, 32 episodes. This is episode 33, I think. However many episodes you've listened to, I am so glad that you liked it enough to come back. That makes me so happy, and I am so glad that you are here. If you are a new listener, I am also so glad that you are here. I don't know how you found the Name One Player podcast, but I am so glad that you did. The Name One Player podcast is a place for women to talk about the sports that they love without ever being asked to name one player on the sports teams that they love. Today, speaking of sports teams and speaking of players, we are doing something that we've actually never done on the Name One Player podcast. When I started the Name One Player podcast, it came from a place where I felt like I didn't have a place to talk openly about the Minnesota Vikings without being scrutinized, really, for being a woman. And the idea of it started to be like, okay, let me interview women and just give them a space to talk about the sports teams. Originally, it was the Minnesota Vikings, but then I was like, hey, you know what? There's so many, there's 1,000,001 teams in the whole entire world, and I want to talk to a female fan of every single one of them and give them that open forum to talk about the sports teams that they love without being asked to name one player. Then it kind of shifted into there's so many women who love sports, who work in sports, and they have these incredible careers working with sports teams, working in social media, working for sports networks, all of these really, really, really cool careers, and talking to these women and interviewing them and just learning about how they got to where they are. That was such a cool thing to ingrain in the Name One Player podcast. But today we are interviewing somebody who does work in sports, but she works in sports on a whole different level. And today we have Natalie Snodgrass, who is a PWHL player. She plays for the Professional Women's Hockey League. She spent the last 2 seasons playing for the Ottawa Charge, but she now recently has made a move to the brand new PWHL expansion team in Seattle. And Natalie, we actually have followed each other for a while now. I think I must have come across her For You page because back when my TikTok kind of blew up a little bit, and I was wearing a Vikings jersey. So she followed me and I was like, girl, if you ever want to come on the podcast, please let me know. I would absolutely love to have you on. I just figured it would be such a cool and unique perspective to pick the brain of a professional female athlete because, one, the amount of hard work, effort, talent it takes to get to the spot where Natalie is in, that deserves a conversation in itself. But then, the dynamics that are in play in women's sports in a league that has historically been male dominated. So when Natalie agreed to come on today, I knew that it was going to be a good episode. I think all the episodes are good episodes, but I knew this one's going to be a good one. And we have Natalie here, and I'm just so excited to see where this conversation goes. I know that it's going to be an absolute blast. Another thing that's going to make the conversation so fun is that Natalie is a Minnesota Vikings fan. So guess what? Surprise, surprise, we're going to sprinkle in a little bit of a conversation about the Minnesota Vikings because I genuinely don't think that there's been one episode where I have not spoken about the Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings definitely have come up every single episode, and I think I'm just going to do it. It's been 33 episodes now. We might as well just continue. Why stop now? Why stop now? But yeah, I think you've heard enough from me, so let's just hop into the episode, shall we? All right, everybody, without further ado, please welcome Natalie. All right, everybody, we have Natalie Snodgrass here with us today. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm doing so wonderful. I'm back home in Minnesota enjoying my summer, so life is pretty good right now for me.
Nice. Well, okay. This is really the first time that we talked. We DM'd a little bit. When I saw that
Yep.
you followed me before, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I love the PWHL. So when I saw you, I'm like, ah, like a PWHL players following the Name on Player podcast. That's amazing. And then you were like, yeah, I'm a huge Minnesota Vikings fan. And I absolutely loved it. But what I was going to say, I'm not from Minnesota. I've
Okay.
never been to Minnesota in the summer, and I have so many
Mm,
friends in Minnesota now, and it's like it seems like an absolute dream going to the Minnesota State Fair. That's like absolute goals for me,
the
and like
bucket list. Yep.
yes, I definitely have to go, and just like all the lakes, everybody's like out
hmm
on a boat all the time.
hmm
It just looks like a fantastic place to be. So I'm glad that you are home and get to enjoy a little bit of the summer there.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I definitely recommend the great state of Minnesota in the summer over the winter. I think everyone knows that it's known for being freezing, but in the summer, it really is just a dream, and lake life is a thing, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So, totally recommend coming and visiting in the summer.
Love that. All right, Natalie. So tell me and all the listeners today a little bit about yourself.
About myself, well, you all know that I'm from Minnesota, so we'll check that one off the list. But yep, I grew up playing hockey for as long as I could skate, I think at the age of 3. And I have two older siblings who also played their whole lives, and we all played Division 1 college hockey. And I just come from a very big hockey family, and it's kind of what we surround ourselves with, and it's really what we bond over. So hockey is, the foundation of my life, and have some other hobbies sprinkled in there. But yeah, I that's kind of my identity as of right now. I'm a big hockey player. So
I love that. And like I said, I'm Canadian. So we like to think that our identity is hockey. But when I
yes.
speak to people from Minnesota, they're like, no, 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 our identity is hockey. So we will get into this, but you play for the PWHL and you were playing in Ottawa. You've lived in Minnesota your whole life, so
hmm
you might be a little bit biased towards it. But you've also experienced Canada and Canadian hockey fans, and I don't know how much you saw of like daily life in Ottawa, but those
hmm
kids, they're getting up at the age of 3 too, and they're getting those skates on. I guess you probably saw the canal of people skating to work. So
Yes.
big culture of getting your skates on young. Do you think that Minnesota likes hockey more or Canada likes hockey more?
I mean, you kind of took the answer out of my mouth. I really don't have like the end all be all answer.
Okay, that's okay.
Minnesota,
There probably
Minnesota,
isn't a right answer anyways, too.
right. So Minnesota is definitely called the state of hockey, and I think for good reason. I mean, we are very passionate hockey fans, despite our lack of success on the men's side. But that's okay. We have a women's team to make up for it. But having lived in Canada for the last 2 years, and especially Ottawa, the canal is something I've like never witnessed before. I mean, the millions of people who hit that canal in the season and who own a pair of skates is astounding. Like it's really fascinating, and it's really really neat to see. So I got to give some credit to Canada. And on the other side of things, when I go to like weddings with all my Canadian teammates, they always play the stronger beer song, so that's what I always think of. But yeah, it's a good rivalry for sure, but I can't put a definite answer of who likes it more right now.
Okay, and you know what? That's totally fair. That's a very professional answer of you because I
Thank
think
you.
I think anybody will disagree with whatever answer
Yes,
you give.
exactly. So I have no answer.
Okay, that's fair enough. You know what? You can see it from both sides. I think that's a very well-rounded answer. And it's so funny that you mentioned the Stronger Beer song because my last episode was a Canadian Football League versus the National Football League, and we were just
hmm
talking about the CFL in Canada. and that song Stronger Beer came up because it
Yes.
does mention the Canadian Football League and the fact that we have bigger
Yes.
balls, we have wider fields.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
yeah, definitely a bit of a rivalry there. Well, a fun, friendly rivalry, I would say.
Exactly. We
With
can all like hockey.
exactly. Well, you know what? And I wasn't planning on talking too much about this because we are going to talk all about the PWHL, but the Four Nations Cup, how fun was that?
Oh my gosh, that was a blast.
Yeah.
To have that rivalry of US Canada in the finals, and such a great game too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think we played a game right before the final and we like all rushed to the restaurant bar and we were just like, can we get seated to watch the game? So, yeah, that was definitely a cool one.
All right, so your PWHL career, for anybody who doesn't know, the Professional Women's Hockey League, it's a newer league, and you played for the Ottawa Charge. Tell me all about what it is to be a professional women's hockey player.
It is a privilege, definitely. So this was actually the second year, this past year.
Okay.
Um, and I had the honor of playing with Ottawa for the past 2 seasons. So I really kickstarted my professional career there, and I'm so grateful for them. I mean, I was an undrafted free agent from the start, so they really took a chance on me, took me in, and I have some really great memories from Ottawa. But to answer your question, to go back to that, it's really I don't really like to talk about myself, but it
Oh,
really
talk
feels
about
like
yourself, girl. That's what you're here for. We want to hear about you.
I know, but no, it really is. It's humbling to think that I made it to the top of the top, and to be surrounded by the level and the players that I am, teammates and opponents it's a blast to just kind of take a step back and just be like, wow, like this is where I'm at right now, and it took a lot to get here and a lot of sacrifices and a lot of hard work, but I wouldn't trade my journey for anything. So,
I absolutely love that. And you deserve every last bit of success with this. It is so incredible and having this league for women. We did an episode with somebody who's from Vancouver and just really loves Vancouver sports. Actually, this was right before the PWHL did their takeover tour, and
okay.
it was so cool to see that the PWHL had in Vancouver had higher numbers than the Vancouver Canucks have had for the last like 10 years, which is
Yeah.
incredible, but just goes to show that like people want to watch women's hockey at the professional level. There's just so much talent. It is such an incredible game, and watching the PWHL, like it reminds me there was a TikTok actually I saw. There's this podcast Two Girls Chirping. I don't know if you've heard about it. They're amazing. And it's that trend going on right now that it's like when somebody tells me they're pregnant and it's like, okay, like that's really cool. And then it's like when somebody tells me that they're about to get into the PWHL and it's like
Yeah.
you're about to go on the best journey of your whole entire life. And it is so true. It's such a
Mhm.
fun league to watch, and all of you women are absolutely incredible. But when you did your takeover tour, and it's too bad you didn't get to come to Vancouver, but
I know. I
or I guess
know.
Seattle either. Where did you play? You
Really know.
played in Quebec City?
We did Quebec and Edmonton.
Okay.
Yep.
And then when I looked at I did an episode and I don't remember the numbers either, but there was something to do with Quebec, like the numbers there, they had sold out where they were playing, and that had never been done before or something to the effect of that. So this
Hmm.
takeover tour, it just went to show how high in demand watching women's hockey is. It was so incredible to see all the little girls there and just seeing that this is a place like their dreams, like there's a league for them to go play in now, and it's just
Hmm.
so amazing. But you are now, and I do have a question for you. I didn't tell you this, and you're not actually going to give me the answer. I know this, but the PWHL has expanded to multiple new cities. I know Seattle and Vancouver got teams. Are there any other ones that I'm missing?
Not this upcoming year, no. Those
Okay.
are the two chosen for expansion, but I believe that there will be more in the coming
Okay.
years.
Okay, well,
Yep,
I'm so happy that Vancouver got a team, and I'm so happy that Seattle got a team because I think that's going to be such an amazing rivalry there.
I
Um,
agree.
but there's no team names. Do you know? Is there an official team name yet?
Not that I'm aware of. I
Okay.
think just with how quickly the teams came together with the expansion draft, the entry draft, hiring all staff, it's probably a lower end of their priority to just maybe build a
Okay,
staff
fine.
and the team. But yes, but I really do hope there are team names. I think it's just so important for the fans to have something to rally for and rally together as.
Yeah.
Because I've played in a season where we were all PWHL Ottawa or
Yeah.
Minnesota or and it's definitely more fun to have people rep your logos and your merch. So it's
Hmm.
definitely it should be a higher end priority. Let's just say that.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I'm excited to see, even if it is PWHL Vancouver and Seattle, I think it'll be a blast, but I totally agree with you. Having those team names just it gives that extra little just something to back.
Yeah,
Just a little bit
for
more,
sure.
just a little bit more.
Hmm.
So when do you head to Seattle then?
Um, I will probably head out in November, maybe with a few trips before here and there. I've been to Seattle once prior, to help with a coaching clinic in a youth association, years ago, and I loved it. I just did an interview a couple of days ago, and I think like that was when I really manifested it. I remember leaving the airport and being like, I could live in Seattle. Like, I loved my time here.
Oh,
And so when I, finally signed my contract, I was like, wow, like full circle.
you did
Um,
it. That's
I
amazing. I
know,
love that.
I
So
know.
when was that coaching clinic?
Um, I think right when I got out of college, so maybe summer
Okay.
of 2022, I
Oh,
think.
that's incredible.
Yeah. So
Well,
I know.
the West Coast is the best. Like I think
I've heard it's the best coast.
it really is the West Coast, definitely. We might I mean, I guess Ottawa's kind of the East Coast. It is. It's not really the coast, but
Right.
it
Yeah.
is. I mean, again, I'm biased, but I think. Well, also, I do think Vancouver. When everything was going on with like setting up the team, I was like, dang, I hope Natalie comes to Vancouver. And I was actually gonna DM you, and then I saw you post that you were going to Seattle, and I was like, ah, but that's okay. I'm really
Shoot,
happy for
close enough.
you. But I think you're going to absolutely love it. I feel like if you're coming from Minnesota, it's
Mhm.
a different experience, but I feel like, well, actually, because I was gonna say I have family who lives in Seattle, but majority of the time that I'm going to Seattle is either to see
Mhm.
family or I'm going to Seahawks Vikings games. So you'll have to
Yes.
look at your schedule where you're at if you can make it because the Vikings are playing in Seattle.
Oh, get this. Day after our home opener.
Oh my God! That's
I know.
amazing. Okay,
I
so
know.
it'll be a Seattle win unless you guys are playing
Yes.
against Vancouver, then it
Right.
might be lost. I don't know. And then we'll go to watch the Vikings play in
Yep.
Seattle and
Yep.
hopefully a Vikings win.
Yes, exactly. Unless Sam Darnold does Sam Darnold. So
I
we'll
mean,
see.
yeah, it'll be two versions of Sam. Either he'll Sam Darnold in like the way that
Yes.
we got
Yeah.
from weeks 1 to
Yep.
16, or he'll be
Yep.
the Sam Darnold that we saw in week 18 and
Right. Exactly.
in the playoffs.
Yes. But yeah, so when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, like my family and I are already like, that's gonna be one epic weekend. I'm like, yeah.
That is incredible. Okay, so then when is the opening weekend for you or your first home game for you guys? When is it in November? When is the game? I don't even know.
Yes, I think it's end of November. I want to say it's the 29th. I did not know that, but I got tagged in a fan's Instagram mention saying welcome to the team. And I think when they were buying their season tickets, it mentioned that the first game was, I think, November 29th.
Yeah.
And so we, of course, my father, the biggest Vikings fan, out of all of us, looked at the schedule and he was like, oh my gosh, they're playing in Seattle. And I was like, Like, of
That
course.
is so good. I mean, historically though, I mean, I guess this is great for you. They play in
Mhm.
Seattle all the time. Like Seattle's
Yeah.
rarely coming to Minnesota. I don't understand, and they usually don't win in Seattle. I didn't go to the game last season in Seattle though,
Mhm.
but the Vikings actually did win that, which was good.
They
So
did.
really hoping for a JJ McCarthy win against Sam Darnold. That
Yeah.
will be amazing. We're going to touch more on your Minnesota sports fandom. But before we get into that, I just wanted to ask, how are you feeling about heading to Seattle other than, you've manifested this, so obviously you're feeling amazing. But,
Yeah.
have you played with a lot of the players before? Is it a lot of new faces that you're going to be seeing? How are you feeling heading into that?
That's a good question. I am feeling very good about going to Seattle. I mean, the hockey is going to be great and the living is going to be even better. The girls that they signed in the expansion draft, oh my gosh, I can't say more good enough things. I think we're going to be a really good team. I think the level of talent we have is astronomical. Have leadership in many different ways. We have, legends like Hillary Knight and Alex Carpenter. And then we have rising studs like Danielle Serdachny, and, just incredible human beings like Kayla Barnes and Emily Brown. So I truly could go down the list and say great things about all of them. I think I know of most of all of them and, had played with them at some point in my life, minus a few people. So I'm really excited to finally meet some new faces who I can maybe put a personality to a game,
Yeah.
other than, drawing up against them on a face off and trying to punch the living crap out of, them. But no, I'm really excited for the hockey. I think we have a great group, and our head coach was recently named, and him with the addition of our GM, Meg Turner, I think are just going to be such a great match. And I'm so excited to get the season started. Moving on to the living, I'm so excited to be in Seattle. It's kind of really where I wanted to go in free agency. And
Nice.
um,
That's amazing.
yeah. Free agency is so hard though because it's not really where you want to go, it's where you get selected. So, I was just really fortunate. I think my agent and my connections in Seattle just miraculously came together very quickly, and I was presented with an opportunity, and I'm so grateful for it, and I took it and I'm running with it, and I am not looking back because it's where I want to be. And I think this next chapter is going to be just a great change and a fresh new start, and I'm just so excited for it.
Wow, I mean, I'm so excited for you. Hearing that that was where you ultimately wanted to be. And I was going
Mhm.
to say, that's so true. Not that I have any experience in any type of free agency, but like, you might have an idea of where you want to go, but ultimately it's not up to
Yeah,
you. If you want to play,
right,
you'll go where you're guided to go.
right.
So that's just so incredible for you, and I'm so happy for you that you're in a position that you really want to be in. That's absolutely amazing, and like I said, I think Seattle is going to be great for you. You're getting me really hyped though, and I'm a little bit nervous. I'm gonna need to get a Vancouver player on here because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a big Seattle fan now. I have to even it out. It sounds like it's going to be amazing adding these two new teams to the mix of already a pretty honestly spicy league. Like some of these
Yeah.
rivalries that we got,
Hmm.
like it's really fun, and I do think Vancouver and Seattle is going to be a really fun one to watch. And I just also love how easy it is to get to Seattle, so it'll be so fun to go to some games in
I
Seattle.
agree. I agree. And coming from Ottawa, we had, I think our biggest rival was probably Montreal, and the match was completely even and so competitive. And you saw that through our first round of playoffs. But more importantly, what we compared well with was the passion and the quantity of fans we got.
Yeah.
I think it was, I mean, our rink was a bit smaller. Our rink housed like 8,300, and I think their home rank was maybe 10,000. And consistently, those two rinks are just packed to the brim, and it is so fun to be playing in that atmosphere and, in front of your own fans or, even in someone else's territory. It's just so easy to get so like in the moment and so hype
Yeah,
in those games. So I'm excited because I think the Seattle Vancouver rivalry is going to be very similar.
yeah.
And I have a lot of faith in the West Coast fan base because I know that there's a
Oh
women's
yeah,
hockey market and high demand for it. So I'm fairly confident that the fans are going to show up and show out for those games,
totally.
especially. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, well, where's there a PWHL takeover tour stop in Seattle? But there was, right? There
Yes.
was,
Yep.
yeah. So, I mean, that tour was just so fun, but I'm really happy that Vancouver and Seattle got picked, I guess. I mean, I think it was a bit of a trial run. Maybe they already had a bit of an idea, just like you said, the markets of like fans
hmm
and all of that stuff and looking at logistics of on a map where all the teams are spaced out. But I think it's so fun and I'm just so excited to watch the PWHL grow and I'm getting excited to watch Seattle. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, good. If I can, I'm pulling you in just a little bit.
Well, I mean, Vancouver doesn't have an NFL team, and I mean, I like the Canucks for the NHL. Like, it's they're okay. They're honestly, I say this all the time. They're like the Minnesota Vikings of football, but honestly, or sorry, of hockey. But I
hmm
the Minnesota Wild in the NHL, like they're pretty close there too. It's just that
Yeah.
constant of like being good, being not terrible, not horrible, good
hmm
enough to get your hopes up, but then never good enough to win. And I am kind of glad that I'm actually not born and raised in Minnesota because you guys have it so hard. The Minnesota sports curse, aside from
It's
the
real.
women's sports, the women's
Yes.
sports are
Correct.
breaking that, and
Yeah.
I think the men's teams need to pay attention and follow along. The PWHL and the WNBA, those Minnesota teams are absolutely killing it. But
Yep.
you said that your dad is a huge Vikings fan, whole family big Vikings fan, and yourself,
Yep.
you're a big Vikings fan. How did you manage time when you're so immersed in hockey to immerse yourself in the Vikings as well?
That is a great question. Let me just start off by stating my dad has been a season ticket holder for maybe since like 2001, like forever
Nice.
with his
Okay,
brother. So
committed.
yeah, committed for sure. And when I was young and throughout college, like football really wasn't my thing. I was like, yeah, you know what? Sure, I'll go to a game here and there, but like I really didn't care. And then when I came back from college, because I went to UConn
Okay.
and I was living back at home, I didn't realize that my dad had these elaborate Sunday afternoon tailgates and, he like transformed our garage and it's like a big potluck and we
I
invite so many
love that.
family and friends and we have the dogs and we're grilling and it's just like I can get behind this like every
Yeah.
Sunday, like have a great afternoon. It's so fun. And as you watch more and you hear, all the dads yelling because their bets are off and you start to kind of pay attention a little more. And I actually train the Vikings practice facility in the
Oh my
summers too.
God.
So,
That
seeing some
place
of
is
the
the most
people,
beautiful place I've ever seen in my
yes,
life.
it,
Because I went there for the because the Vikings Museum is there.
yeah,
Is that the same
yeah,
one that you're talking
yeah.
about? Yes,
hmm
so stunning. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it is beautiful. Yes. So, and occasionally I'll run into like some players and I'll just be but yes, the blood right or the love for the I don't know, whatever that's called, it
Yeah.
runs deep. And yeah, the Vikings are a big passion in our family. So much so that we are deciding on going on a family vacation, and we haven't done one of those in years because we've been in sports. My sister's been in residency for 100 years, and we're finally at a point where like we could go on a family vacation. Like, what are we into? And
Yeah.
we're trying to like choose a destination. We're like, well, I don't know if we're like a Europe family or like tropical. Of course, it comes out that the Vikings are playing in Dublin and London, and we're like, yeah, we could. I mean, we could get behind that. So we're trying to see if that lines up with everyone's schedules, but it's a good chance that
Oh,
I could go to the Dublin game.
I love that. So I used to live in London for like the past year and a half. I moved back to
No
Canada.
way.
Yeah, so there was a home game and they played the Jets, so Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
was there. Vikings win. It was incredible. And I do know like the NFL, they give different rights, I guess, or like different like it was crazy in London when the Vikings were the home
Yeah.
team. It
Yeah.
literally felt like I was in Minnesota. Like the tube stations were like decked out in Viking stuff. It was crazy. There was Minnesota Viking stuff all over London. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. But because they're the away team in both London and Dublin, I do think it'll look a little bit different. But they'll
Yeah.
have like a designated pub for each team that you can just go to throughout the week, and then there's events going on for the whole thing. So the
Okay.
Minnesota Vikings, I don't know who is working in their international marketing department, but
But they
they
deserve
are
flowers.
doing such a good job. Exactly. They deserve all the flowers in the world. I don't know. But like year after year, because they've been playing over like in Europe for quite a few seasons now with like some
Yeah.
break. So they've
Hmm.
gotten some good practice, but this is the first game ever actually played in Dublin. So I think it's gonna be really cool if you
Hey.
guys end up making it there. That's gonna be a really fun one.
I know. I hope. I've never been to either, Dublin or London, so fingers crossed it works out.
Nice, nice. All right, Natalie. So, one last question for you. Obviously, the name of the show is called Name One Player, and that came to be from the countless times that women who love sports, who work in sports, and you are our first professional athlete who works in sports. It is what you work in. It is your job, but you play sports for a living, which is so cool. But I could imagine that you probably get the whole name one player, needing to prove yourself, needing to prove your knowledge. I often say proving your fandom, but you're on a whole different level, proving that you deserve to be where you're supposed to be. So, do you have any sort of stories resembling that sort of theme?
Absolutely. And being not even a professional athlete, but like when I was in college, even, it's like I have to constantly prove my abilities. And I think the most prevalent platform we see it in is social media. I mean,
Mhm.
just like the name of your podcast, you'll always see in the comments of some type of post like Joe Schmo commenting like, I could do that if I played women's sports too. And there's been thousands of them that when asked this question, I have to really go in the depths of my brain because I just like, you can't even like,
There's a million.
yeah, you can't even pretend to like store them because you're just like, whatever, like, no.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
But yeah, there's been like a couple instances. I remember my school Instagram, the head of athletics posted me when I broke our program record for scoring goals. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And I again, it took like a lot. It took
Yeah.
5 years. So when they posted like Natalie Snodgrass broke a record, someone in the comments I remember was like I could do that like with my eyes closed in 1 year or something like that. And I just like was like, well, okay, like whatever. And I come
Oh,
from a great school that like so many people attacked this guy and was like, you probably can't even play JV hockey. So
that's
there's
good.
definitely like some people in your corner, but another time, PWHL is actually in NHL 25, the video game.
I did
I
not know
don't
that.
play
That's
video
really
games,
amazing.
but yeah, you can opt to choose for women's players, and I think when that
I
news
love
broke,
that. Are you in the game?
I am in the game. Yeah,
Ah, that's so,
I
that's
know.
the cool. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Well, obviously playing hockey at a professional level is
Mhm.
the coolest thing, but like the fact
In
that
the
you can say
video
like
game.
I'm in a video game.
I
Anyways,
know.
I'm
My
sorry for
brother,
interrupting you.
yeah,
Go
my
on.
brother, my brother's like played with me before, and he's like, "I got you 7 goals." I'm like, nice.
That's hilarious. Anyways, sorry, continue.
No, that's okay. But when ESPN had announced that earlier this year, there was just like 50,000 comments and like, who's going to play that? Why would you even do that? Like, what a waste of money. What a waste of time. Like, why would I ever play with girls? And so there was just like thousands and thousands of like hate and,
Wow.
whatever. But it's like all these people who are posting this could never do what we do. So that it's laughable in some sense when you see it
Definitely.
online, and it's always going to be there, so that's why I really don't waste my time on it. But
Totally.
in my real life, especially as a female in a male dominated sport,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to kind of dance around it. And as I'm dating, or like I start talking to someone like in a bar or in whatever setting, I really don't like to share what I do,
Mm.
because like if I'm on a dating app or like in a bar or something and someone's like, "Oh, what do you do?" and I'm like actually honest, I'm like, "Oh, I'm an athlete." And they're like, "Oh, what do you play?" And I'm like, "Hockey, like I play ice hockey." And they're like, "Oh, I could 1v1 you and I could probably cook you." And I'm just like, "Do you think like that's what I want to hear?" Like, one, no, you couldn't. But like two, like what do you think, like what?
That's so crazy too. Just like thinking also so much to all the things that you've said, and we'll touch on that. But like imagine just I mean, I'm a social worker, went on a date with an accountant, not like imagine you're oh, what do you do? Oh my God, I could do accounting way better than you just
Yeah.
because I took one math course or
Yeah.
I studied math in
Yeah.
grade 10. Like
Yeah.
it's
Like
oh my, oh wow, I never, yeah, that must be a whole different
yeah.
level. I've
So
never really considered that. Wow, that
mhm.
must be difficult, but maybe it's good in a way because it weeds out the weirdo ego
Right. Yeah.
freaks,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
damn. And I liked what you said about it's just like the random Joe schmoes on Instagram.
Hmm.
And I almost want to go back and find that ESPN post, like talking about the PWHL in the NHL video game, because it really is like people online, they say things in such a different way, which I don't know is a good thing or a bad thing. Like I guess it's a good thing that people don't have as much experience of it on or in person of people coming up to them and being like, "You don't deserve to be in this video game. Nobody's gonna play with you.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Women's sports don't deserve any recognition. I'm better than you." Like I guess that's good, but also really messed up that people feel comfortable doing that in the comfort of their own home behind the
Yeah.
shield of not actually knowing who they are.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's an interesting career path to navigate. I mean, you're always gonna encounter those type of people who just don't appreciate or don't support or just don't get it. So that's life, and we're always here to prove them wrong.
All you can do is laugh kind of way because
Yeah.
it's a
Awkward
little
laugh,
bit
like ha ha ha.
infuriating. Yeah, exactly. It's infuriating, but, and that's like honestly, I think, not the worst part of it, but a difficult part about being a woman who works in sports, plays at the professional level, me just love sports,
Hmm.
is you kind of do have to laugh it off because, like you said, there's millions of instances in your brain of this happening. And if you actually keep tally of all of them, you're going to go crazy and you're going to be miserable and you're going to be angry, and that's just not good for you.
No.
But unfortunate that it's up to us to like turn that off and be like,
Exactly.
okay, we're just gonna ignore it.
And I will say that there's like for every, 100 comments of hate, there's going to be that one comment that really changes your world. And the amount of DMs I get from parents saying, my child, girl or boy, looks up to you. You're number 8. My kid's favorite number is 8. I tell my kids to watch you based on how hard you play. And it's just
Oh,
stuff like that I'm just like, this is why I do it. Like, who cares what other people think? It's just like for the 1% of people who, you change their life. So,
that's like the best outlook. That 1% just negates all the
yeah.
rest of it, all the negatives, keeps you pushing forward and reminding you that that's why you do what you do. I love that. And I think you're gonna get a lot more of it just being 1%. I hope it just floods your inbox of positivity always.
I hope so. Yeah. We could use some more good.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I mean, that's like the whole idea of this podcast, just getting women on here, giving them a space for that good. Because I mean, in my experience too, that's what I started talking about sports because I would talk about the Vikings online on Twitter specifically.
Yeah.
God, that was a negative place. So just, making this a positive place for women in particular, but, anybody to just come on and listen and just hear about people talking about the sports that they love, talking about hockey, the incredible passion that you have for it, and just passing on some of that positivity. That's all it is.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And, when I saw your account on Instagram, I was like, wow, Name One Player is such a creative and unique and but like very real title, and I applaud you for coming up with that because I think we need more awareness to the phrase and hopefully put an end to it.
Yeah, hopefully.
There's such a space for what you're doing, and I just appreciate you bringing me on here.
Oh, and I appreciate you coming on. That's for dang sure. So much appreciation in this. Well, we're in two separate
Yes,
rooms in
snaps for
two
appreciation.
separate countries, but all right, Natalie, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a great episode. I'm sure everybody listening completely agrees, and I wish you the best of luck with your season. I part of me is like not too much luck though because we may still be holding out hope that I'm Vancouver fan first and then maybe second and then
Absolutely.
maybe third Minnesota, but we'll have to see how this season goes with the rankings here. But you guys, Seattle definitely is on my radar.
Well, good. Very good. And hopefully I will see you in Vancouver or at a Seahawks game. Hopefully.
Absolutely, absolutely you will. All right, thank you so much, Natalie.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much to Natalie for coming on. What a fun episode. What a treat for me and all of the listeners. I said this like 3 times throughout the episode. I'm legitimately so torn. I think Natalie is so cool. I'm so excited after hearing how excited she is to play for Seattle. It sounds like this team is stacked and that it's going to be an incredible time. So maybe I go rogue here and don't support the team in my city and become a Seattle fan. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm also really excited for the PWHL to be in Vancouver. So I don't know. I'm a loyal Vancouver girl, aside from football, because we don't have the NFL here. You know what? I've actually thought about this many, many, many times. If there was a National Football League team in Vancouver, what would I do? I would still be a Vikings fan. I would still be a Vikings fan. But you know what? Actually, the other thing that I've thought about is if there is an NFL team in Canada and I somehow start working for this NFL team, how does that work? Like, do I cheer for that team? I don't know. But I feel like there's so many people who work for the team that they're not actually a fan of. So I feel like that one's an easy one to navigate. Anyways, again, huge, huge, huge thank you to Natalie for coming on and for sharing such a unique perspective that we've never heard before on the Name One Player podcast. I absolutely loved hearing about your journey of becoming a professional hockey player, and honestly, that was just such an amazing little piece at the end there, ending on such a positive note that as women who love sports and who play sports professionally, sometimes things are a little bit difficult surrounding all of that kind of stuff, but it's so important to look at the positives, even if it is just that 1% of reminding you why you do what you do, why you love what you love. I love it. I think that's great, and I'm going to carry that with me for sure. I think that's really it for me. They have just started doing construction, just started building a high rise, so that's great. Literally just broke ground, so that's gonna be going on for like 4 years. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it literally just started. Like, it started yesterday, but it just picked back up today. So I apologize if you can hear any of that, but I think that's probably my sign to say goodbye to all of you, say my thank yous to all of you. Thank you again for listening, for everybody for tuning in today. It means the absolute world to me. Whatever platform you are listening on, I would be so appreciative if you could like the Name One Player podcast, rate the Name One Player podcast, subscribe to the Name One Player podcast, comment if that's an option that's available to you. It means so much to me. One, the engagement really, really, really helps me, and two, it just makes me so happy to see all of you engage and be able to interact. My favorite part of this show is being able to interview all the incredible women that I interview, but unfortunately, I can't interview every single one of you. So even just those little interactions just absolutely make my day and make me so happy. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you so much. All right, everybody, I'm going to take off. I hope you have a lovely week. Take care, everyone. Bye.